The SEC has filed charges against a leading exchange in the United States. Justin Sun could go to trial for market manipulation, and Fed Chairman Jerome Powell sent Bitcoin below $27,000. How these events will affect the future of Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies, now let's examine together. Cryptocurrency exchange Coinbase has received a Wells notice from the SEC regarding their stacking service as well as custodial asset storage, essentially passive income tools. What it is. In SEC practice, the Wells notice is basically the last Chinese warning, which means repent of everything and don't do it again, or we'll drag you to court. Interestingly, the SEC had previously made similar claims against another American crypto exchange, Kraken. There, they did not argue and agreed to pay a fine of $30 million and disconnected staking for U.S. users. After that case, Coinbase stated that they are ready for a legal confrontation with the SEC if a similar charge is brought against them. What's more, just the other day, the exchange sent an explanatory letter to the SEC explaining the differences of sterling securities. But either the letter didn't get anywhere or it pissed off the regulator even more. So now the head of Coinbase, Brian Armstrong, has a chance to show how he will fight with the SEC in court. So far, the industry is not in a state of terror because of charges against Coinbase, because as a last resort, the exchange will agree to the option that Kraken already applied, that is fines, disabling of staking for U.S. residents, as said before. If SEC wants through exchanges to really make panic on crypto market, then their target must be Binance. By the way, interesting information that Changpeng Zhao and company wrote a response to a request from U.S. congressmen about market manipulation, but there is no clear answer to any of the important questions in that document. Also, Binance used to look for options on how to pay the SEC all fines for past violations ahead of time, but the regulator didn't appreciate such an idea. So Changpeng Zhao definitely did something wrong and is now hiding it, which means the SEC has a chance to get to his exchange as well. In the meantime, they want to see Justin Sun in court, which we will talk about next. The SEC indicted Justin Sun on a variety of episodes, from issuing and to trading in unregistered securities, fraud, and market manipulation. Under the concept of securities was Tron, which filed faster than the market yesterday. There was also a BitTorrent sell-off. Recall that the project was bought out by Justin Sun, and then he got his own token. Also under pressure was the Hubby token. Justin, though, calls himself an advisor to the exchange, but given the decisions he made, especially the last one about merging with the Bolognex exchange, it is obvious that he is the owner of the site, or at least appointed there as an unofficial manager. Justin Sun himself said that he considers the accusations unfounded, and he will continue to create a fair, decentralized financial system. As they say, what else could he say? He didn't have to write a confession. Let's think about the possible consequences. Does a potential lawsuit against Justin Sun threaten the industry as a whole? Definitely not. In terms of even if Tron, Huobi, or BitTorrent were to go under, it's not a threat to the market. But if this is a test of a pen to then subpoena a bigger fish, like one Chinese man of Canadian descent, well, you get the idea. By the way, the SEC in general has a good chance to hold Justin accountable. According to their law, the U.S. jurisdiction applies to all cases where its citizens could be affected. And someone from the U.S. definitely bought Tron. Plus, there's the precedent of Arthur Heisem, who was formerly a BitMEX SEO, was accused of manipulating markets, and is now serving time under house arrest. The case was resolved by compromise. Hayes turned himself into U.S. authorities but pleaded guilty only to violating the exchange's anti-money laundering rules, and the other charges were never proven. And then the Fed raised the rate by 25 points, which was the most expected option. Initially, the markets reacted positively to it, and then the lord of the printing press, Jerome Powell, came to the press, who scared everybody, that in a moment, the Bitcoin dropped below $27,000. In the moment on this event, the price plummeted almost 8%. But now the market is recovering, and here's why. What statement from Powell startled everyone, and why was his press conference hawkish? The possibility of an additional 25-point rate hike at the next meeting, as well as the possibility of further rate hikes if necessary. The Fed will do whatever is necessary to get inflation back to the 2% target. And so far, they don't see achieving the necessary result based on the labor market data. Quantitative tightening continues. The fact that they printed $300 billion to support the banks is different and has nothing to do with it. But there were some other statements that cooled the sellers' fervor, like that the Fed might not raise the rate anymore if the statistics on inflation are good, or that keeping it for the rest of the year is the base case, but it might be reconsidered. Powell also expectedly tried to sit on two chairs, and in addition to fighting inflation, he talked about how strong the U.S. banking system is at the moment, and also that they will not necessarily learn important lessons from the recent bank collapse. Jerome Powell forced speculators to hold profit-taking after the recent rise, but that is hardly enough to change the trend back to bearish. Today we see the Bitcoin attempting to recover. The S&P 500 futures behave the same way. So without any more bad news, and especially if we manage to bring the price back to 28,000 soon, we have a chance to keep the local bullish mood and see the growth continue, especially if you consider that markets did not strongly believe in Powell's words, and at the next meeting, 50% expect a rate increase stop, and also almost 80% expect that the Fed will abandon the basic scenario and will move to the end of the year. And a bit more positive, trader Peter Brandt believes that within 12 months, Bitcoin will rewrite a new price high, that is, reach a minimum of $70,000. Like, subscribe if you like the video. Thanks for watching. Your cryptocurrency.